Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today's lesson, I wanted to deal with this precept. That's why I titled it this way, dealing with the precept in the book of Jeremiah, the 10th chapter, and the 3rd verse. Okay, 3rd verse on down, which usually we just start at the 1st verse. Okay, but Jeremiah 10, pretty much around this time of the year, and we bring it out accordingly. But we often go into this precept dealing with Christmas. Okay, as these Babylonians, these these people celebrate Christmas, and it's often attributed or associated with Christianity, associated with the Lord, associated with the birth of the Lord, and so on and so forth. Okay, so oftentimes we'll go into Jeremiah, we'll bring it out because pretty much that's what it's describing. We'll bring it out to show people that, hey, in the scriptures, you're not even supposed, the scriptures go against Christmas. You're not supposed to be celebrating that. Okay, but in Jeremiah, the 10th chapter, there's context behind it, right? That you need to understand. So when you bring this out, you never know who's listening, right? And who may come at you with something. So is always, and not just this precept, but all the scriptures, is always good to have an understanding of what is the context in which it's being, the context in which the precept is, and also how we apply it. Because there are certain precepts that, contextually would apply, differently, but, prophetically we apply it also differently. Okay, so when you deal with Jeremiah, the 10th chapter, dealing with Christmas, well, one may say, well, why is Christmas talked about in the Old Testament, but it's not mentioned in the New Testament, right? Or why is Jeremiah talking about it, all the way back in the Old Testament? Because then it must not be talking about Christmas, because Christmas is dealing with the birth of the Lord, which is in the New Testament. But if somebody asks you that, really, you gotta stop and think for a second. Hold on one second. Why is Christmas spoken about in the Old Testament, but not even once in the New Testament? When in the New Testament is when the Lord was born on the scene, right? But yet in the Old Testament, you're describing it. In the New Testament, you're not. So then you start the gears in your mind start turning, and you start questioning, wait, so then that must mean that this so-called Christmas was there prior to the birth of the Lord. Okay, and the answer is yes. Christmas, as they call it today, is just a modern term that has been, they decorate it a bit and they slap it on here. But all of these holidays and these customs and these traditions that people follow today are not new. All right, these are 1,000+ year old traditions and customs, okay, that have been in practice all the way back to Sumer, all the way back to Mesopotamia, okay, all the way back to the Akkadians and the Sumerians and so on and so forth. And that's why you may find out when you read some history about the Egyptians, they did something similar. The Babylonians, they did something similar. The Assyrians, something similar. Yeah, because a lot of these all stem back to that area, that region of Mesopotamia. Okay, but it all goes back thousands of years. And each rulership that came in, they would take it and they would, assimilate it and tweak it a bit, and then continue in those practices. Okay, so now let's deal with Jeremiah, the 10th chapter, right? What is the context of Jeremiah, and why is he talking about this? Okay, so when you actually look up Jeremiah in the if you just look up Jeremiah, in the secular history, they place him around circa 650, which circa just means, like a estimate, right around that time period. So about 650 to 570 BC, okay, which is within his lifespan, he would witness the rise of the Neo-Babylonian Empire, okay, which started with the father of Nebuchadnezzar, right, Nabopolassar, and then Nebuchadnezzar II. Okay, so at this time, Jeremiah is alive all throughout to witness the Babylonians coming and ultimately destroying and taking down Jerusalem. Okay. And Jeremiah at this time, Jeremiah was alive, you know, I believe during the time of King Josiah, okay, as well as the kings that followed after him up until Jerusalem was taken over. And when you read in the book of Jeremiah, you find out that he starts off as a boy, right? The Lord tells him, look, go, you know, go and make your face hard against theirs, go and prophesy my word. Okay, and from a youth up until his old age, yeah, I mean, that's exactly what he was doing. And Jeremiah was prophesying, warning warning Jerusalem, because at this time, all you had was the southern kingdom. The northern kingdom had already been deported out of the land. So right around Samaria, you had heathens that were in the land. So you mainly had the southern kingdom, which was Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, with a little bit of some of the northern tribes that were mixed in. And Jeremiah is warning them, telling them, hey, look, all the way up from the time of Josiah on down, he's warning them, look, the Lord is raising up the Babylonians. Okay, he's raising up a nation of fierce countenance, and they are going to come here. And they are going to take over this land. And they are going to, you know, because the Lord has raised them up and set them up. But when they do that, don't try to fight against them. Just do as they say. Just go with them, and it will go well with you. However, you know, Jake, hard-headed, they didn't want to listen to Jeremiah. Okay? And the main king around this time is Zedekiah. Okay, which was the last king before Jerusalem got besieged. And you can read about the interaction between the two, as, you know, Zedekiah would come and, wait, so you said the Lord said what? Damn, all right. So he would listen, but then he wouldn't, but then he would change his mind, and then he would come back. And ultimately, Zedekiah ends up not listening to Jeremiah, and he ends up making a league with Egypt, trying to revolt against Nebuchadnezzar. And according to prophecy, as a matter of fact, let me get that real quick. Jeremiah chapter 52. All right, it says here, Jeremiah chapter 52, it says, Zedekiah was 21 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Hamutal, the daughter of Jeremiah of Libnah. It's not talking about the prophet Jeremiah. It says here, and he did that which was evil in the eyes of the Lord, according to all that Jehoiakim had done. Yeah, because you had Josiah, okay, and then after Josiah, you had Jake had set up, because Josiah died in battle against Pharaoh Necho, and after Josiah had died, they set up Jehoahaz, okay, which was one of his sons, who then got taken off, and then was set up Jehoiakim, who was a wicked-ass king. Read about it in the book of Jeremiah. Okay, he was a wicked king, and after him was set up Zedekiah. Okay, so verse 3 says, for through, and this is going to lead up, it's going to lead up to Jeremiah 10, but it says, for through the anger of the Lord it came to pass in Jerusalem and Judah, till he had cast them out of his presence, that Zedekiah rebelled against the king of Babylon. And that king at the time was Nebuchadnezzar. And it came to pass in the 9th year of his reign, in the 10th month, in the 10th day of the month, that Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon came, he and all his army, against Jerusalem, and pitched against it, and built forts against it round about. So the city was besieged unto the 11th year of King Zedekiah. And in the 4th month, in the 9th day of the month, the famine was sore in the city, so that there was no bread for the people of the land. Because during the siege, that's what they do. They cut off your supplies. They cut off any access in and out of the city. Okay? It says here, then the city was broken up, and all the men of war fled, and went forth out of the city by night, and by the way of the gate between the two walls, which was by the king's garden. Now the Chaldeans were by the city round about, and they went by the way of the plain. But the army of the Chaldeans pursued after the king. See, Zedekiah tried to escape, right? Because the city was besieged, and it was so hard. He tried to, you know, escape, but it says here, but the army of the Chaldeans pursued after the king, and overtook Zedekiah in the plains of Jericho. So he tried, he tried it. It says, and all his army was scattered from him. Then they took the king and carried him onto the king of Babylon to Riblah in the land of Hamath, where he gave judgment upon him. And the king of Babylon slew the sons of Zedekiah before his eyes. He slew also all the princes of Judah in Riblah, and he put out the eyes of Zedekiah, and the king of Babylon bound him in chains and carried him to Babylon and put him in prison to the day of his death. So that's what happened to Zedekiah for not listening. Now, when the Babylonians came up into power and they started coming against Israel, there was a series of exiles in which they would come and they would take captives back to Babylon. I believe there was about 2 or 3 of them, in which Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and a few of the nobility were taken in one of those exiles. And in another one, was also taken the son of Jehoiakim, right? Jeconiah. You also had Ezekiel, right? So they were taken captives to Babylon, all right? And I believe Ezra was also in Babylon. So when you read some of the different books of these prophets, it's good to know this so you understand, well, where are they? You know, what's the context? So when you read certain precepts in there, it makes sense. Oh, okay, that's why he's talking like that. Because in the book of Ezekiel, Ezekiel's prophesying against Jerusalem, right, according to what the Lord told him. But Ezekiel's not in Jerusalem, okay? He's in Babylon. Nevertheless, as they're getting taken captives to Babylon, the Lord told Jeremiah to basically give heed to Jake. Look, the Most High is going to put you guys in captivity under these Babylonians, right? They're going to besiege you. They're going to take your ass out the land, and they're going to take you over there to their land. And when you come there, right, you're going to see their gods and their idols and their customs and all of these things. But do not do after their ways. Don't follow their customs. Don't follow their manners. Don't follow what they do, okay? Just because you're in their land and you're going to be surrounded by it. And so now leading to Jeremiah 10, okay, it says here, Jeremiah 10:1, hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. So now think, wait, hold on. Jake is in Jerusalem, right? We're keeping the holy days. We know we're Israelites, right? We're doing after the man. I mean, Josiah kept one of those, grand Passovers and so on and so forth. So we knew, all right, so you're out of here. You're done. So we knew that the customs, we knew what we had to do. So now why is Jeremiah telling Jake, don't learn after the way of the heathen? Okay? Because what was going to happen? When we were taken captive to Babylon, we were going to be exposed to all of these heathenistic ways and customs and ideals and so on and so forth. And it's the same thing the Lord warned us by Moses and Joshua and so on and so forth about coming into the land of Canaan. That this is why the Lord said, slay all of them, because you don't want to be exposed to their customs and ways and end up, swaying into those ways and delving into that, just like Eve did. See, and I believe it said tribe of Benjamin and Manasseh, they when they got into the land, they didn't slay all of the heathens that were there. Okay, once again, disobedience, right? So Jeremiah 10:1, it says, and actually before I keep going on here, this is the letter of Jeremiah, right? Chapter 1. When you read it, it's in the Apocrypha, right? It's called the letter of Jeremiah. And it says, a copy of an epistle which Jeremiah sent unto them which were to be led captives into Babylon by the king of the Babylonians, to certify them as it was commanded him of the Most High. Because of the sins which ye have committed before the Most High, ye shall be led away captives into Babylon by Nebuchadnezzar, king of the Babylonians. So when ye be come into Babylon, ye shall remain there many years, and for a long season, namely 7 generations, 70 years, and after that I will bring you away peaceably from thence. So the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah was telling Israel, you're going to go into captivity under those Babylonians. You're going to spend 70 years over there, right? And then I'm going to bring you back. Verse 4, now shall ye see in Babylon gods of silver. All right. Now shall ye see in Babylon gods of silver and of gold and of wood, borne upon shoulders, carried upon shoulders, which caused the nations to fear. So you're going to see these false gods. You're going to see these false idols. Beware, therefore, that ye in no wise be like to strangers, neither be ye and of them, when ye see the multitude before them and behind them worshiping them. So you're going to see, when you go into Babylon, you're going to see these false idols, these false gods, these paganistic ways. You're going to see a multitude of people worshiping it, following it, paying homage to it, right? But don't be like them. Verse 6, but say ye in your hearts, O Lord, we must worship thee. For mine angel is with you, and I myself caring for your souls. As for their tongue, it is polished by the workmen, and they themselves are gilded and laid over with silver. Yet are they but false and cannot speak. And taking gold as it were for a virgin that loveth to go gay. And gay here is not talking about a lesbian or a sodomite. Okay, when you look up the word gay, gay can refer to an attire, but it can also refer to a merry spirit. Okay, so it says, as a virgin that loveth to go gay, they make crowns for the heads of their gods. So Jeremiah's warning, Jake, look, you're going to be in Babylon. You're going to see all these things that they're doing there. You're going to see the idolatry. You're going to see the false gods with silver and gold and all the different customs. Don't follow after their ways. Okay? Now, before I keep reading on here, now we're going to go back to Jeremiah 10. So Jeremiah says what? Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, because you're going to be exposed to it. And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. Because that's what when Nebuchadnezzar had that dream, he didn't understand. He called what? The wise men, the soothsayers, the astrologers, right? So you had people the prognosticators. You had people that could interpret things. You had people that would read the heavens, the astrology and so on and so forth. You had people that delved into the witchcraft and the left-hand side. He had all of these people in his council, okay? And they would read the signs of the heaven, and they would, look, New Year's, right? The celebration of a new year, that's not new. The ball dropping off, that's not new. That goes back there. It goes back to Babylon, but it even goes further back than that to Mesopotamia. And like I said, these are recycled traditions and customs. And even the Romans kept these things. The Greeks kept these things. But where did they get it from? Did they come and make it up? No. They took, because when they took over a nation, they would have their gods. They would have their customs. All of these things would be exposed to them. Right? So verse 3 says, for the customs of the people are vain. So what people's customs are this? At this time, Jeremiah is warning them that you would see these Babylonians, they would be partaking in these customs, right? For one cutteth a tree out of the forest. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail. You can always look it up, you know, dealing with Christmas, because it goes back to many things, because there is a core tradition of it, but it's celebrated. It was celebrated over the different centuries by various kingdoms in slightly different ways. All right, you have Saturnalia. Okay, you have it going back to Tammuz, Nimrod, and Semiramis. Okay, which I believe it said Nimrod died and came back as Tammuz. Okay, which Semiramis was supposed to be his wife, but then his mother. All right, if I'm not mistaken, but you could look up the history on that. And nevertheless, I believe she said that one of them came back as a what's the name of that tree? They call it Christmas tree, but it's not a Christmas tree. I think it's an evergreen or something like that. Okay, but it was one of those trees, and they would actually set it up. And when you put presents under the tree, you're pretty much paying homage to that tree, bowing down. They would decorate it, okay, because they were paying homage to it. That was one of the customs, and it didn't start with the Babylonians. However, they did keep it, okay. So it says here, for the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. Now, today, what they call Christmas, that's what they do, right? You have trees, specific kinds of trees that are cut from the forest, right? So when you go to the store and they got those big ass trees, and then people put it on the hood of their car, and then they tie it up so it doesn't fall, and then they take it home upon the Lord's birth. You know, it goes all the way back thousands of years. It says they decorate it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers that it moves not. Fasten it meaning they tighten it up, so like it says, so it doesn't move. Okay, so now today they have more of the, you know, you can have the tree and then the little root, the stem goes into this artificially made, oh, the water, brother, fair tree. Okay, but it goes into this artificially made stand, right? So you put the tree in there and then the stand holds it up, because the tree itself cannot stand up. You need something to hold it up, right? Because once it's been uprooted and you're putting it on wherever you're putting it at, it's not going to stand up by itself. So as it says here, they decorate it with silver and with gold. So what other custom is it where they tree out of the forest, bring it home, set it up so it can stand up and it doesn't move, and then decorate it with silver and gold? What other, there's no other, if you describe that to somebody, if you just read this, if you said, look, I'm going to read something to you, right? What's the first thing you think of when you hear this, right? The customs of the people are vain. I'm reading in Old English. One cutteth a tree out of the forest, so they're cutting a tree, right? And then they decorate the tree with silver and with gold. And then they fasten it so it moves not. They keep it in place, right? What does that sound like to you? They're going to say Christmas. Even if they don't celebrate Christmas. Oh, yeah, that's Christmas, right? So it says here, verse 5, they are upright as the palm tree. They speak not. So they stand straight. They speak not. They must needs be born, meaning to be carried. Okay, if something is born, it's carried. If you say something is airborne, it means it's carried in the air. Okay, it says because they cannot go. So these trees, they can't move. But that's the thing. They're also likened unto an idol. Because the same way they would also worship these idols made of wood and silver and gold, they couldn't talk, they couldn't speak, they couldn't move. But it's the same with this damn Christmas tree, right? So it says because they cannot go, be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither is it in them to do good. Now, why is Jeremiah saying all this? Because when we went into Babylon, we would see people actually doing this. And these people would be afraid, and the way they would treat this tree, right, or this custom, was as if it was like an actual god, like it was actual power. So Jeremiah's letting you know, look, don't be afraid of them. Because you're going to see people, you know, almost trembling, you know, acting like, oh my gosh, you're like, that's the whole bowing, all that extra shit. But don't fall for it, because that is just a freaking tree. All right, it's just a tree. It can't harm you. It can't bless you. However, those Babylonians treated it as if it could harm you or it could bless you. As if it could curse you if you didn't pay homage to it, or it could bless you if you did. Okay? But as it says here, for they cannot do evil, neither is it in them to do good. Okay? So now going back to the letter of Jeremiah, remember, he's warning Jake that you're going to be exposed to this. Do not partake of it. So when you go to Jeremiah 10, and you remember, well, why is it written here in Jeremiah 10 and I don't see it anywhere else? Because during the time of Jeremiah was when we were taken over by the Babylonians. And this was one of their customs. Christmas goes back to a Babylonian custom. Okay? And so it was at this point that we would be exposed, right, heavily to this custom, because we would be captives in Babylon. And so the warning needed to be given. Look, these are one of the customs that the heathens keep. But when you see it and you're in the land, don't fall for it. Don't follow them. Don't join in with them in doing these things. Because Jake has a bad habit of doing that. Right? And what was one of the curses? That the Lord was going to scatter us? Real quick, let's go to that. Deuteronomy 28 and I believe 64. And it says here, and the Lord, Deuteronomy 28 and 64, and the Lord Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other. And what? And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even what? Wood and stone. So Jake always picks up these the idolatrous spirit when they go into these lands. So that's why they were being warned. And even still, you had certain Jakes that when they went into Babylon, guess what? They defected. All right? You had some that stayed faithful to the Lord, but you had some that defected. That's why when you read in the book of Ezra, when Israel is allowed to come back to rebuild the temple, and they're allowed to come back and come back to our own land, why do you think in the book of Ezra, right, that he's stressed out and he's weeping and he's mourning? Because what did he come to see? Ezra was a priest. So when Ezra came back to Jerusalem, he's like, what the hell are y'all doing? Jake was going off completely, doing all manner of shit, getting involved with these heathens and so on and so forth. So now they had to have the whole, basically like a cleansing again. Now imagine how Ezra feels when, you know that the Lord was angry at you. The same shit that we did to get us in the Babylonian captivity, right? We literally just got out, and then Jake is already on their shit. So Ezra's now, he's like, I'm ashamed to even come before the Lord to come and say what? To even try to come and ask for forgiveness for these people? How? Like, how do you even begin to do that? Like, I even look crazy trying to come to you for forgiveness, because that's like if how do I put this? I don't know. Your child is doing something, right? Your child does something wrong. Maybe your child slaps somebody, or like gropes a woman, right? Here it is. Your child is supposed to be in school, studying and paying attention and shit, but he's out here groping chicks. Cool. So your son goes and he gropes a female, and now he's about to get expelled. So they call you and you come in there and you're like, no, look, he's not like that. Right? I know he did it once, but just forgive him. He's not like that, and give him a second chance. Now, as you're in the middle of making supplication, give him a second chance, he's out here. Maybe a teacher walks by and then he gropes again. Right? In the midst of you talking to principal as to why he shouldn't be expelled, he's doing the same shit that got him there to be expelled in the first place. So now, how do you look? You're trying to make supplication. Your son doing the same shit. So how do you even plead his case? So something like that. Ezra, like, how do I even begin to plead? I mean, damn. You guys just got out of captivity and right then, and so nevertheless, because being in Babylon for so long, there's certain things that Jake picked up. And when they came back, they call it Second Temple Judaism, right? When they came back to rebuild the Second Temple, you had certain Jakes that were, Babylonianized a bit, okay? And you had some that just said, I'm not even going back to Jerusalem, right? When the Lord commanded and said, yo, let's go build my house, you had certain Jakes that just said, no, I'm not going. And the Lord put the spirit on some Israelites to go back, but even then he had to send Zechariah and Haggai. When you read the book of Zechariah and the book of Haggai, those prophets are placed around the time period of Jake coming back from the Babylonian captivity, being released by the Persians, and being allowed to rebuild the temple. And the Lord had to put the spirit on Zechariah and Haggai to get on Jake, because you had Jake that would, now they're back in the land, and then they just stopped. They started going, they building their own houses, they building their own stuff. And the Lord is saying, well, hold up. You building, look at my house. It's all desolate, and you out here, nah, you building your house, you taking care of your shit. So they had to get on Jake so Jake could get the job done. Okay? But nevertheless, going back to Jeremiah. So Jeremiah is warning Israel that, look, you're going to be exposed to these things. Right? There's a context behind it. You're going to be exposed to these customs. Right? These Babylonian customs, which they kept the new year. They celebrated that. So, 3, 2, 1, ball drop. Hey, haha. People keep that, but they don't know why. Why? What is New Year's? What is that? They'll tell you what they do, but they don't tell you what it actually is. Why do you do it? What does it go back to? Well, I mean, we just get together and have a good time, and then they make up some bullshit. It's really about just the gathering and the overcoming the year and hoping for a new bitch. Do you know what that goes back to? You talking about the gathering and the shit? What the hell are you talking about, bro? Well, Christmas is really just for the kids. Okay, what are you doing for the kids? They don't know. They just do it. Then that's why Jeremiah said the customs of the people are vain. It's vain. What do you get from it? The only thing you do is piss off the Lord. But what do you really get? Do you get blessings for keeping Christmas? No, you don't. So it's vain. But Jake, they all up into it. You know, and guess what? Today is what? So-called Christmas Eve, right? And tomorrow is going to be Christmas Day, and the Sabbath comes in tonight. So choose ye this day whom you will serve. They're doing that. Because are they honoring the Sabbath, or are they getting ready for Christmas Eve? So is that not a choice right there? So now the Lord's looking at, he's looking at the earth like, my own people, here it is. Instead of choosing the ways I gave you to separate you from the heathen, look at what you're doing. So at what point do you have the forgiveness in your heart? At some point, the forgiveness turns into anger. The love, look, man, when you have two best friends that become enemies, they become the worst of enemies. And you have two enemies that become friends, they become the best of friends. Because when that feeling is turned, when that positive becomes negative, it's like a supercharged negative, and vice versa. So you can fight with somebody and all of a sudden y'all become best friends, right? Now, when the Lord got to that point where he's like, you know what? The love for some of my people has now, it's turned into just anger, wrath. That's why the scriptures speak about the wrath of the Lord so much, right? Wrath, because all that love the Lord had has now been converted to wrath. Yes, it's still love, but it's a wrathful love. So it's anger, okay? Amplified. And seeing shit like this only makes it worse. Okay? So I'm going to read just a little bit more in here. And pretty much I believe that'll be, I have one more document and then that's it. But it says here, the letter of Jeremiah, chapter 1, verse, this is Yerumya Gabar, Jeremiah 44:4. It says, howbeit I sent unto you all my servants, the prophets, rising early and sending them, saying, oh, do not this abominable thing that I hate. Damn, Jake. The Lord said, I hate this shit, man. Don't do it. Where do you find Jake, man? In the house of wickedness, in the same shit the Lord said he hates. It says here, verse 5, but they hearken not, nor incline their ear to turn from their wickedness, to burn no incense unto other gods. This is different than your woman cheating on you low-key. This is high-key cheating. This is her, you telling her, don't cheat on me, and then she turns around and goes and cheats on you while you telling her not to cheat on you. That's like high-key disrespectful. You know? That's just like, damn, I mean, F your authority, right? F whatever you saying. Literally, as you're saying it, like it's like she's sticking a middle finger at you and then she's going to do whatever she's going to do. Verse 6, wherefore my fury and anger was poured forth and was kindled in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem, and they are wasted and desolate as at this day. So do you now not understand why the Lord did that back then? And why he's going to do what he's going to do. That's why the Lord talks about the destruction of America so much. Because that's going to be the point where he appeases his wrath. His wrath that has been long time held, he finally releases that. That's why the Lord talks about it so much. The day when he gets to release his anger. Jacob's trouble. Okay? Jacob's trouble. But here it is. You try telling this to some worldly Jake. You know, your auntie or some shit. You know, yeah, you know, but it really says in here, man, you asking for trouble. Verse 9, it says, and taking gold as it were for a virgin that loveth to go gay, they make crowns for the heads of their gods. Now look at all this shit. And Jake picks up these customs. Look at how hard. Yo, let me tell you something. When Jake misses out on these holidays, they get messed up. Let there be traffic. Let there be traffic. And you got a dude trying to get to a Christmas party. You know how pissed off and angry and messed up and annoyed they get? I mean, they put so much energy. I mean, the cooking, right? The cooking, they want everything to be perfect for a pagan holiday. But when it comes to the word of the Lord, they throw that shit behind, not that shit, slack it, but they throw the word of the Lord behind somewhere. You know, they don't even care in the slight. That's the way they treat us when they see us, and then the way they partake in these holidays shows you how they treat the Lord versus how they treat these other gods. You know, and the Lord is like, damn, did I not do everything right for you? Did I not? Who else? What other nation on the planet had such a great deliverance as the one I gave you? What other nation had a God send angels down to fight for them? To part the Gulf of Suez in half for them? To feed them with manna from heaven? You know, what other angel has, I mean, what other nation has had the one true living power so near unto them? Did I not do everything good? What did the Most High do wrong? That's the question, right? Well, what did I do wrong to you? Did I not do everything that I should? And then some? And then even when you messed up, I went the extra mile to forgive your ass. Did I not do that? So what is it that you wanted that I didn't do for you, that you sought these other gods? And that's why the whole head is sick, and that's why the only solution is destruction. These people need to be destroyed because they're not going to get it. They're too far gone. They need to be destroyed. Okay? They need to be just melted and pelted. And then they come back, you know, reset. That's what they need a reset. So all these things are in consideration when the destruction comes. All right? Verse 10, it says, sometimes also the priests convey from their gods gold and silver and bestow it upon themselves. Yea, they will give thereof to the common harlots and deck them as men with garments, being gods of silver and gods of gold and wood. Yet cannot these gods save themselves from rust and moth, though they be covered with purple raiment. And then he pretty much goes on, you know, throughout telling Jake, like, I mean, you got to have a mental problem to honestly bow down to these gods. You know, they're not, hey. But after all of that, Jake just don't listen, man. They don't listen. So nevertheless, when you look up things like Christmas, you'll find out, look, Christmas, as a matter of fact, let me read this part here real quick, because it actually even tells you. In Wikipedia, when you look up Christmas, it says, Christmas is an annual festival commemorating. Now, let's pull that up. Let's look up the word commemorate. It says here to recall or show respect for someone or something. Celebrate an event, a person, or situation by doing or building something. So now let's read the stupid BS that's on here, right? Christmas is the annual festival commemorating the birth of, it says Jesus Christ here, but wait, hold on a second. How is celebrating a heathen custom that you were explicitly told not to keep showing respect for the Messiah? Where in the Bible did they ever mention the celebration? Hold on. Well, wouldn't it make sense to have what's written in Jeremiah 10 written in the New Testament, but in an acceptable way? Why is there no gospel, no word, no document anywhere that says on the birth of the Lord, you had Angel Gabriel, he had the ladder up, you know what I'm saying? He had his nice red hat, right? He had a red hat and the pajamas, and he was trying to put the star on the top of the shit. He was trying to put Yahushua was in the crib, and Angel Gabriel was trying to put the star on the top of the tree. And Michael was decorating the shit, you know, and then you got Raphael playing the music. And where is the account of a Christmas celebration in the New Testament? And why is it that the only account of a custom that relates to Christmas is negative? Is that you're being told, when you read in Jeremiah 10, it describes Christmas, but it tells you don't do this. And then it describes what you shouldn't do. So how does doing what the Bible says don't do show respect to the Lord? And you know what? That's why this place is called Babylon, because it's literally confusion. It's so stupidly ridiculous that it's infuriating. It's complete. I mean, it's just complete, man. But you know, we got to suffer it. But that's why when judgment comes, man, that's why it says in the book of Isaiah 65 that my servant shall sing for joy of heart. Because we're not only going to be singing and rejoicing because the Lord, you know, Lord willing, is protecting us and providing for us, but also because we're getting to see these people get what they've had coming. We're getting to see the destruction for the stupid BS that these people have been doing. We get to witness, yes, 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 yes. Finally, you stupid niggas, man. All this shit you've been doing, now you paying for it. You know? When the bad guy finally gets his ass beat, that's what it's gonna be. That's what's gonna be a part of the reason we rejoice. Now it says here, observed primarily on December 25th as a religious and cultural celebration among billions of people around the world. A feast central to the Christian liturgical year, it is preceded by the season of Advent and of Nativity fast, and initiates the season of Christmastide, which historically in the West lasts 12 days and culminates on 12th night. Christmas Day is a public holiday in many countries. It's celebrated religiously by a majority of Christians. Now, it tells you here, hold on. It says, although the month and date of the Lord's birth are unknown, the church in the early 4th century fixed the date as December 25th. So, they are already admitting that December 25th is not the day when the Lord was born. Common sense. Okay, cool. So now ask yourself, why did the church fix that day as why did they pick December 25th to celebrate that when it has absolutely nothing to do with the birth of the Lord? How the hell does the birth of the Lord involve a tree and decorating the tree? What's the correlation? What's the symbolism for it to make sense? But you can see the correlation in these pagan celebrations. It says here, December 25th, right? Now it says, this corresponds to the date of the winter solstice on the Roman calendar. Very interesting. It is exactly 9 months after the Annunciation on March 25th, also the date of the spring equinox. Very interesting. Most Christians celebrate on December 25th in the Gregorian calendar, which has been adopted almost universally in the civil calendars used in countries throughout the world. You know, so they're telling you straight up that, look, you know, you go ask somebody, the day the birth of the Lord. Wait, you dumbass, the script, they even tell you that they don't know what day so how does, anyway, there's sites out there that let you know. There's one here, it says, this is, the history of Christmas, and it says, the history of Christmas dates back over 4,000 years. Many of your Christmas traditions were celebrated centuries before the anointed child was born. Oh, really? You don't say. It says the 12 days of Christmas, the bright fires, the Yule log, the giving of gifts, carnivals, parades with floats, carolers who sing while going from house to house, the holiday feasts, the church processions can all be traced back to the early Mesopotamians. And now in Mesopotamia, right? What were they doing there? Were they worshiping Yahweh Shemel Shai over there? No, they weren't. That's why the Most High told Abraham to get his ass out of there. Because Ur of the Chaldees is also in Mesopotamia. Right? So the Lord told Abraham to get out of there because there was a lot of idolatry over there. It says many of these traditions began with the Mesopotamian celebration of what? New Year's. Oh, whoa, hold on. New Year's? I thought the ball what? It says here, the Mesopotamians believed in many gods, and as their chief god Marduk, which was passed on down to the Babylonians, because that was their chief god Marduk as well. All right. It says each year as winter arrived, because when you actually, I think that name is actually in the scriptures, but it's spelt a little differently. Let's see. I think it's Merodach, if I can find that. There we go. This is Jeremiah 50:2, and it says here, declare ye among the nations, and published. Now, Jeremiah 50 is a prophetic scripture. But remember, being that America is likened unto Babylon, the gods of America are referred to as the Babylonian gods. Okay, so as it's going to say here, it says, declare ye among the nations, and publish, and set up a standard. Publish and conceal not. Babylon is taken. Bel is confounded, which is one of their gods, Baal. Merodach is broken in pieces. Her idols are confounded. Her images are broken in pieces. Now, when you look up the word Merodach, all right, it says, Merodach, thy rebellion, the chief deity of the Babylonians in time of Nebuchadnezzar, all right, which is Marduk, okay? It says here, Merodach, a Babylonian idol. And now let's look up Merodach. Wikipedia. Yep, it says here, Bel Merodach, or Merodach, an alternative name of Marduk, a Mesopotamian god. Okay, so Marduk, Merodach, it all goes back to Mesopotamia, but the Babylonians, it was passed on as their one of the, because the where was Babylon? Okay, and it says here, so it says many of these traditions began with the Mesopotamian celebration of New Year's. The Mesopotamians believed in many gods, and as their chief god, Marduk, each year as winter arrived, it was believed that Marduk would do battle with the monsters of chaos. To assist Marduk in his struggle, the Mesopotamians held a feast for the New Year. This was Zagmuk, the New Year's festival that lasted for 12 days, right? On the third day of Christmas. Oh, whatever. These things that people do today, they don't know that it actually goes back to this. To them, it's just, oh, we're getting together. We're celebrating the new year of the ball dropping and shit. But that celebration, that spirit you're getting in goes back to that. There's an actual reason and a custom and a tradition behind it that has been passed on and passed on and passed on and passed on. Okay? It says the Mesopotamian king would return to the temple of Marduk and swear his faithfulness to the god. The traditions called for the king to die at the end of the year and to return with Marduk to battle at his side. See all these shits right here? It says the Persians and the Babylonians celebrated a similar festival called Circassia. Part of that celebration included the exchanging of places. The slaves will become the masters, and the masters were to obey. And then it goes on down. The Greeks did it, the Romans did it, so on and so forth, all the way down to quote unquote Christmas, right? So all these things, or New Year, whatever you want to call it, they all go back to the ancient customs. The gods they worship now all goes back to that. And when you partake in these holidays, whether you know it or not, you are still conjuring up that spirit. All right, you are still in that spirit of these false and idolatrous and wicked traditions, and the Most High hates that. And now you don't have an excuse. Okay, you don't have an excuse, because guess what? We've been warned. That's why do you think the Lord sent us out here? Do you think those people who went to Babylon and worshiped their gods over there had an excuse? Because the Lord told Jeremiah to warn them, and he did warn them. You see? It says here, it says the Romans, it says the ancient Greeks, and I'm gonna finish it off with this. The ancient Greeks held a festival similar to that of the Zigmuk Circassia festivals to assist their god Kronos, who would battle the god Zeus and his titans. The Romans celebrated their god Saturn. Their festival was called Saturnalia, which began the middle of December and ended January 1st. With cries to, and today they call it the holiday, right? The holiday spirit, right? The holiday season. Holiday, right? It says here, with cries to Jove Saturnalia, the celebration would include masquerades in the streets, big festive meals, visiting friends, and the exchange of good luck gifts called Stranay lucky fruits. Does that in any way, shape, or form sound familiar? Let's read that again. The celebration would include masquerades in the streets, big festive meals, visiting friends. Damn, man. And the exchange of good luck gifts. The exchange of gifts. What do they call that? Secret Santa or whatever that shit is? Do these people even know what the hell they're doing? They're proud asses. Doing it with such joy and passion. Do you know what you're doing? And Jake just gets so into it. I mean, damn, man. Jake gets so in. Oh, shit. It says here, Joe, hey, God, yeah. It says, the Romans decked their halls with garlands of laurel and green trees lit with candles. Again, the masters and slaves would exchange places. So, doesn't that sound like a little song that they say, what, deck the halls? Deck the halls with whatever they deck it with? I wonder where did they get the concept of deck the halls with da-da-da-da, whatever? Where did they get that from? Green trees lit with candles? Oh, wow. Joe Saturnalia was a fun and festive time for the Romans. And you know one thing too, now you got somebody that's going to try to fight it, right? And then when you show it to them and you prove it to them, then they go, I mean, okay. I mean, okay, but like that's still. So it goes to show you that Jake lacks the understanding, but when you even impart it to them, they don't care. That's the thing. They don't care. This information, you tell somebody in the world, they can't disprove it, that's not going to make them repent. It's not going to stop. They're going, oh, wow. Oh, damn, I mean, oh, shit. Well, I guess you're right. It does go back to paganism. So I should stop doing it, right? I should, but they're not going to stop. So how does the Lord stop them? If sending us out here and giving them the warning and the information doesn't stop them, how is the Lord going to stop them? He's going to put them to death. It says here, yeah, zero fear. Zero fear. But the Lord is going to take it from 0 to 100 real quick. It says, Joe Saturnalia was a fun and festive time for the Romans. But the Christians, though it an abomination, or I think it should say thought it an abomination to honor the pagan god, the early Christians wanted to keep the birthday of their anointed child a solemn and religious holiday, not one of cheer and merriment as was the pagan Saturnalia. But as Christianity spread, they were alarmed by the continuing celebration of pagan customs and Saturnalia among their converts. Remember, when the Holy Roman Empire, the Roman Empire was originally pagan. And they became so-called Christian, the time of Constantine and all of that, they weren't following the ways of Yahushai. Okay? This is a different type of Christianity. This is some new shit. All right? This is some new shit. And then they said, nah, forget the Passover. We can do Easter. We put this date on this time. We do this on this. All right? Then they changed the joint. So just because it was called the Holy Roman Empire and they were Christians, they weren't really following the ways of Yahushai. They were their Christians. They were their kind of Christians. Okay? And they had all these various ecumenical councils. Look that up. And that's when they, okay, all right, we're going to actually put this. Okay, the Trinity, this is the new way. Because in those ecumenical councils, that's when they decided what means what. And then it was like a general rule amongst all the churches that this is what we teach now. This is what this means now. But you go and search the scriptures, you're like, well, what the fuck? That's not in there. It says, all right. So it says, but the Christians, but as Christianity spread, they were alarmed by the continuing celebration of pagan customs and Saturnalia among their converts. At first, the church forbid this kind of celebration, but it was to no avail. Eventually, it was decided that the celebration would be tamed and made into a celebration fit for the Christian Son of God. Oh, wow. Some legends claim that the Christian Christmas celebration was invented to compete against the pagan celebrations of December. The 25th was not only sacred to the Romans, but also the Persians, whose religion, Mithraism, was one of Christianity's main rivals at the time. The church eventually was successful in taking the merriment, lights, and gifts from Saturnalia festival and bringing them to the celebration of Christmas. You hear that? They took the stuff from Saturnalia, slapped that on Christmas, and voila, here you go. It says the exact day of the anointed child's birth was has never been pinpointed. Traditions say that it had been celebrated since the year 98 AD. In 137 AD, the Bishop of Rome ordered the birthday of the anointed child, it says Christ, but I'm saying the anointed, celebrated, right? In 137 AD, the Bishop of Rome ordered the birthday of the anointed child celebrated as a solemn feast. In 350 AD, another Bishop of Rome, Julius I, chose December 25th as the observance of Christmas. So if you actually do just a little bit of research, you'll come to find out that whatever you're doing is madness. It's madness. You have your customs. You have your holy days. You have things that you've been commanded to do. But instead, this is what Jake wants to do. This is what they want to get into. Okay? So you know what's going to happen? I'm going to close it off with this. This is the book of Amos, chapter 5. Verse 21. It says, I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. Because you know what's going to happen? When they set the meal and everything, and they got the gifts and everything, and they talking about Santa Claus and all that bullshit, and they sit there and they hold hands, then they pray to Jesus Christ. Oh, Jesus, you know, today's the day of your birth, and you better, man, there better not be a pastor in the family, because if there's a pastor, there we go, it's loud ass voice. In the name of Jesus, you know, all that shit. And then everybody starts digging in. Then somebody grabbing the pork ribs, the cow nuts, you know, the shrimp, the crab, the lobster, they pulling the shit. Oh, this is good, man, you know. And then after that, they sit there with their fat ass stomachs. Oh, enjoying life, talking about shit, cracking jokes, drinking eggnog, watching stupid ass Santa Claus Christmas movies. And they feel satisfied. Then you know, everything is good. Hey, it was nice seeing you. Haha. Hey, good time. Hey, hopefully, with all this stuff going on in the world, it's definitely good that we had this moment. You know, we get to meet each other. We don't, you know, all this stuff. And then that's it. They go about their way. And then on their way home, they get into an accident. And then they wonder why. And when they leave, the house burns down. And then they wonder why. You stupid, yo. You freaking, and that's why the Lord said, my people are Sodom's children. So completely spiritually retarded are these people. Okay? That's exactly what they are. Because as you're doing all of that, you don't realize that there's death angels all around, waiting for the command. For the Lord to give the command, get this nigga. So let's keep reading. It says, though ye offer me burnt offerings and your meat offerings, I will not accept them. Neither will I regard the peace offerings of your fat beasts. Take thou away from me. It's like, damn, you keep a pagan celebration, and then on top of that, you're eating abominable foods. And then you're gonna pray to Jesus Christ. It's like, damn, wow, this is some shit, man. This has got to be the worst captivity we have been in, because it's really crazy to actually, when you sit down and analyze the shit they do, it's really crazy. Like, wow, that's crazy. I mean, if an Edomite did it, it's one thing, but you got, sons of God, right? God's chosen people, and you disrespecting the Most High like this? I can only imagine what Jacob's trouble is going to look like, man. That's why, man. That's why. Verse 23, take thou away from me the noise of thy songs, for I will not hear the melody of thy vows. And that's all they're going to play. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle. It's like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like just disrespecting the Lord, dancing on top of it, singing on, and just constantly, You know when you're doing shit and it's pissing somebody off and they're quiet, and then you're doing it and doing it and doing it and it's all over the place, and then they finally just snap? Like, that's kind of like what it is, because keep in mind, this is not one household. This is not one person. This is not in the Bronx. This is not just in Jersey somewhere. One small house where you're doing wickedness. No. And one thing I've noticed, I don't know if brothers notice this, but whenever Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year, the skies never look clear. They always, right now it's just white. You don't see past it. It's like it's covered. You know, it's always cloudy and you don't see stars. You don't see the clear sky. I don't, at least. You know, it always looks like this. It always looks gloomy. It looks dry. It looks dead, and it's just clouded up. You don't see clear through. You know, because when the Lord looks upon the earth around this time of the year, you know what he's going to see? He's not just going to see New York doing this shit. He's not just going to see Nevada or Colorado or Florida or California or just the U.S. or just Canada or just South and Central America. He's looking at the whole planet. And there's people all across the globe doing this shit. So it's like, and the scriptures say, let's get that real quick. It's that Habakkuk. Damn, is it Habakkuk the first chapter? I believe it's Habakkuk the first chapter. All right, the scriptures say that damn, where is it? The Lord, it says his eyes are pure. He cannot behold iniquity. Ah, man. I know it's in the book of, there we go, Habakkuk 1:13. It says, thou art of purer eyes than to behold evil, and canst not look on iniquity. Wherefore lookest thou upon them that deal treacherously, and holdest thy tongue when the wicked devoureth the man that is more righteous than he? See, so the Most High he can't behold that iniquity. But imagine that around this time of the year, that's all he's, with the exception of the elect, all he's going to be seeing is just wicked. Because now you're going to have Christmas, but remember, around this time, you also have heathens that have their paganistic rituals that they do around this time. So it's all just witchcraft here, demonic stuff here. Then your own people doing this shit here, doing this shit here. What do you think the Most High feels around? What do you think Yahweh Shem Yahushai feels around this time? We get pissed. We get annoyed. We're like, yo, what the hell? But the level we feel doesn't even come in comparison to what the Lord feels. So what do you think Yahweh Shem Yahushai feels around this time of the year? How angry do you think the Lord gets around this time of the year? You know, really all the time. But on these days when there's a level of wickedness that just is so high, how do you think the Lord feels around this time of the year? But yet the scriptures say he's long suffering. That's why he's holding it. And when he finally lets loose, it's going to be generations. Because you look at the world, and this shit isn't 1 year. It isn't 2 years. It isn't 3 years. This is over the span of generations. This is over the span of thousands of years. So let me finish it off here in Amos 5, verse 23. It says, take thou away from me the noise of thy songs, for I will not hear the melody of thy viols. But let judgment run down as waters, and righteousness as a mighty stream. That right there. Amos 5:24. But let judgment run down as waters, and righteousness as a mighty stream. That is what those that are in the right mindset, that is what we're waiting for. That is what we want. We don't want no Christmas presents. That's what we want. Okay? All I want for is judgment. Okay? So that's pretty much it. I'm going to end it here. As a matter of fact, let me just hit a couple precepts off the comment board. I know brother's been putting some nice ones on here. This is Yahweh's truth, Nahum 1:3. The Lord is slow to anger and great in power, and will not at all acquit the wicked. The Lord hath his way in the whirlwind and in the storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet. Come. And that's why when he finally unleashes, it's going to be a time like never before. This is Prince of Yahweh 6, Ecclesiasticus 32:14. Whosoever feareth the Lord will receive his discipline, and they that seek him early shall find favor. Hey, look, man, Barakatha Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, that we are not we're not in that spirit, that he took us out of it. Because you can only imagine. Imagine if you were in the world and you were getting ready joyously to do shit like this. Meanwhile, there's work to be done here. So, Barakatah Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, that he opened our eyes to actually see the shit that goes on here. Because to be a blinded Israelite in this time, that's condemnation. Yep, this is Dyed Garments from Basra, 144 Ba. It says, oh, Slaki, let me finish. Prince of Yahweh 6, Ecclesiasticus 32 and 14. Whoso feareth the Lord will receive his discipline, and they that seek him early shall find favor. And Lord willing, that applies to us. Okay? Dyed Garments from Basra, 144 Ba, 2 Thessalonians 1 and 8. It says, in flaming fire, taking vengeance on them that know not God, and that obey not the gospel of our Lord Yahushua Hamashiach. Okay? Prince of Yahweh 6, Isaiah 1 and 16. Wash you, make you clean. And how are you being washed and made clean? By the word. That's why we're out here. That's why it's crucial. That's why it's crucial that we go hard, because our energy, that positive, righteous energy, counteracts the wickedness that's going on. You know, that way when the Lord looks on the earth, as it says, as in the days of Noah, you see that when the Lord looks upon the earth, at least there's a little dot of light somewhere on the map where he can find grace in that. He can, like Noah, when everything else is wicked, at least he can see that dot and you know, and remember why he shouldn't destroy all Israel. He can remember, you know what, I still have that remnant. Okay? So it's not for us to be now we have to stand firm. We have to stand firm for righteousness. We have to stand up for Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, because nobody else will. All right? We're not to be, you know, no, we don't want nothing to do with your shit. Okay? We serve Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, so we do what Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai asks of us. That's the least we can do. Okay? Because if we don't do it, I mean, you know, if we don't do it, what's going to become of our nation? It's going to be a complete nation of degenerates, bug outs, spiritual retards, and just folly. Okay? Just complete and absolute folly. This is Yerumia Gabar, Romans 1 and 28. And even as they did not like to retain Yahweh in their knowledge, Yahweh gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient. And you know what those things which are not convenient is gonna lead them to? Painful death and destruction with absolutely no mercy. Absolutely no mercy. Yerumia Gabar, Jeremiah 11:11, and I'm gonna finish it off with this. I don't know how many times I said that, but hey, it's the spirit. It says, therefore, thus saith the Lord, behold, I will bring evil upon them, which they shall not be able to escape. That's it. That's it. That's what we're looking for. It says, and though they shall cry unto me, I will not hearken unto them. And Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai is absolutely 144% justified in doing that. Okay, he's beyond justified in doing that, and that's what he's gonna do, and that's why we hasten onto the coming of the day of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, so all this can stop, and righteousness can be set and flourish in the earth again. So with that, I'm gonna end it here. Lord willing, you've been edified. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai B'Hashem Rachak Kodash. Stay in the spirit as best as you can, and pray that the Lord brings judgment upon this place. All right. Till next time, shalom.